like I said, I started out in the yard, and I would see these guys coming in every once in a while that were outside sales guys. I was like, well, what do they do? And I just figured they did PR and they made a whole lot of money. And I'm like, I can talk to people. I like to make a whole lot of money. So that's where I want to go. Took me a few years and started out on inside sales and went into outside sales and figured out, hey, that's not what they do. And it's not that easy.
But everybody else is always tonning it.
Yeah.
Here he is in the yard going, man, I'm making 725. Boy, that guy's driving a nicer car than me.
Yeah.
He's tonning
Look
it.
at those shoes.
Man, and he's doing it real easy. He ain't out here in the cold weather like me.
Absolutely.
Pulling the forklift, trying to pull material off the top shelf and watching it fall all around you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happened to you, but
Oh, it did.
hypothetically, it might have happened to one of us here at the table. Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop. Alan, let's get the hammers out, get the tool belt on. Let's get back to work, everybody. We got to build some shit today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? You putting down, huh?
I don't know. I just, I feel like the listeners need to know that you were dropping Big Daddy during the green room chat.
So the World Cup is coming to the North Americas. We happen to live in one of the cities that will be hosting 8 games. My buddy says, do you want to go in on tickets? And I said, yes. He said, okay, got him. I said, okay. He goes, it's this much. I said, no, I just want my share. He goes, that's your share. I said, oh boy, I've really got to get more sponsors on the podcast. I need more discounts for my suppliers.
And I asked, I go, so is it priced like a Super Bowl? And then I got a higher.
Keep going.
Really?
Keep going, and then goes to more.
And there's 8 of them, and we have a semifinal.
And we have a semifinal. And there are the tickets that my buddy has that we go to for Falcons games. They are not nosebleeds, everybody. They are midfield, second level, all inclusive. That's right.
right on the 50.
And so I looked at him and said, all right, we're selling that semifinal. To which our guest said, now, hypothetically, if the U.S. actually came through, would you still sell those tickets? And this is a would you rather question.
Oh, I love the look on your face when he asked. It was such a good question.
It is a good question. Right off the rip. It was good. We aren't even on the air. So, guys, that's right. The World Cup, we are learning. And, we've got listeners all over the world, Alan, as you know, Europe, Australia,
Canada,
who got into soccer 8 years ago just so they could host it, as we understood from our guest. Pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. You would think that we have a World Cup aficionado coming on together.
And maybe we're giving people the wrong impression. So we'll go back to your original strap on your hammers and your tool belts, guys.
That's right. Let's go back to that train of thought for a minute. So I started my business in 2008. I'm a pretty handy dude. We're actually in my basement where I put my handiwork to the test before I even started my business. And you're seeing all of the work that I did in here, by the way, Steve. That's my crown molding. That's my rope molding. That's my mantle. Those are all my doors I've hung. Don't look too closely. All right.
Good.
Thank you. And the cabinets. Don't forget that back.
Don't turn the lights on.
Don't turn the lights on. So one of the things that we have here in Atlanta as a handyman company now, and we've talked about this before. Maybe I haven't talked about it, guys, but I've been looking for other handymen who are the same size as me. There's very few of us because we've been able to build it here. But when I first started, I was a little guy. And I was a little guy in 2008. And our guest here did not have the time for me because I was too small for him and his big ass company.
That didn't feel good at all.
I told him, I was like, hang on, big guy.
It's come onto the pod so you can just say, suck it.
Suck it, Steve. We got Steve Lange from one of our building suppliers, but I want to talk about building supplies and what happened. So in 2008, man, these guys were printing cash, printing money, sending 40 doors out, sending 500 windows out, sending roof packages out, trusses out. Everything was going out. And I come in and go, I'd like to get one door. They're like, who who are you again? And the counter sales, let's just say Chris got a big lesson on, you ain't Big Daddy anymore. I don't care where you came from there, SunTrust boy. I don't care if you had cufflinks on, but if you can't tell us what door you want, and I said, well, I want one that's about 28 inches. We don't have one that's about 28. We got one that's 2.4. I said, no, 28. And they go, nope, no idea. What did I learn? I learned that doors are measured in feet and inches in the building world. Windows are measured in feet and inches in the building world. And if you can't call it a nominal size,
So
get the hell out of my spot.
2 feet 4 inches is what it
That's
was.
2.8. Yeah, it's 2.4. That's right.
No, that's 28 inches.
That's 28 inches. And I learned real quickly that if I couldn't stand to deliver at a counter, I was getting jack shit. So
It's like the soup Nazi for doors.
they were all like that, though. So all the big guys, when I come in and say, I just need 2 windows. Nope. And then I came in one time and I said,
what did he, I mean, because he's still ordering one door.
Well, this was a little bit before my time, although I was there.
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So 2008, they're printing it, they're building it, people are building everything, and then it hits.
Yeah.
And it hit hard. And the group that I worked with went out of business. The other group I went with, they went out of business. The other group got bought. And the other group that said, I don't got time for you because we're too big, went out of business. And when I sit there and I'm like, oh God, now I got to start buying everything from Home Depot because I don't have anybody else to go to. And then I heard through NERI, which, I'm very involved in, Alan.
Yeah. Former royalty.
President, now chairman of the board. Thank you. And on the national board and getting ready to go to the national conference. Thank you very much. Is that this group that used to be known as X is now known as PMC, but they're going to cater to smaller remodelers. I'm like, all right, prove it. Now, let's go back again. In my world, I went back and would order windows. And I remember going to one of the now deceased companies and saying, I want this window. And they went, absolutely, we'll make it for you. I said, these are the right guys' dimensions. And they made it for me. And it exactly didn't fit. And I had to go and reorder it. Why? Because I didn't know the difference between nominal and actual. And this guy never looked at me and said, by the way, that's a custom window I've never heard of. Are you really sure about that? Now, this is why we have our guest on today. I found somebody who would actually call and go, are you really sure about that? Because before you drop an extra 1,000, you might want to just double check those numbers because that doesn't make sense. And I've never seen that in any building I've ever been involved in. We've got Steve Lange on from Randall Brothers. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
This is the value of having a great partner because when I was introduced to the company at the time, they were called PMC. The former company I was talking about that was too big to work with me was Plymart. Their counter sales was brutal. I'm telling you, man, they almost ran me out of the room. It was so funny. I was like, well, I went from being big dog, 400 people working for me at SunTrust to coward, walked right out of there going, I can't do building.
It was definitely a different time then, for sure. Yeah.
So rock and rolling. So we started up with PMC, and then it became Randall Brothers, which we'll get into that lineage. But Steve Lange was my rep. And I remember, again, sending Steve some information, him saying, not really sure about that. You want to check? Hey, would you guys be all right if I came over and kind of like just talk with you guys for a little bit? Which is his way of saying, you guys are such dumbasses.
You're so stupid. You are so
if
stupid.
You're going to take this much time to make me go order one stupid sized door that you're going to eat anyway, can I just come talk to you first and teach you guys how to measure doors, how to measure windows, and how to call out the right product? And oh, by the way, let me show you about some other building products that are out there. So when you see them in a house, you're going to know what you're looking at. That's what we got with Steve.
Good man, Steve.
We tried.
He did good.
Yeah. The good, bad, or in between, that's definitely something that I believe in as far as, product knowledge. And if something doesn't make sense, questioning it, because there's always more than enough time later on to fix it. So get it right the first time.
Steve, let's back up.
Yeah.
So you're in high school.
Yep.
You said, you know what? Building is for me. I'm going to get in building products. I'm going to pedal doors and windows.
Absolutely not.
What was your goals?
So I went to high school in South Florida, and the year was 97. And the idea was for me and the family to move up to Georgia to go to a school at the time, KSU. And I was actually going to become an accountant, if you can believe that.
No,
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
not even
Yeah,
close.
yeah. No, I love
How long was your mullet?
exactly. It was the 90s.
And how many inches was your truck jacked up?
Yeah, right.
Huh?
It was actually lowered, and it was a Honda Civic.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's an accountant.
Florida man.
But no, that was a game plan. I absolutely love numbers, believe it or not. So
I do actually believe that.
Yep. So we moved up here. When I was in Florida, I was actually working part-time at a car dealership as a car detailer because I'm very anal. And I actually did a pretty good job cleaning up cars. But, I'm 17, 18, 19 years old, working 30 hours a week and bringing home $500-$600. That was a lot of money back then.
At 17.
At 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had a car payment and everything else, of course, loaned through my parents. But we moved up to Georgia with that idea intact as far as going to school. Then I realized the job market just absolutely sucked. We went from Naples, Florida to Cartersville, Georgia, which was a little bit of a culture shock.
That's saying something.
Wow.
And I got a job part-time as a short order cook. And the other part-time job was with Plymart at the time. And they had me working out in the yard, and it was great. I was 19 years old. It was, October. So that wasn't so great because it was cold, but summertime was good. I was getting a sunburn and I was working out. And I remember they offered me $7.25 an hour to come on full time. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So, yeah, that's where the story started from, and strictly by accident.
So you started with Plymart in the 2000, right around 2000.
Yep.
So building was strong, but you started out in the yard.
Yes. 97 started out in the yard.
Oh, 97.
So when did the accounting dream die?
At $7.25 an hour.
Is that right? You sold yourself out for $7.25 an hour.
I did.
There had to be a
I did at the time. No women. I was smart.
A car?
There was plenty of cars. But no, it was the 725, and it was working the full time, and it was, hell, working 60 hours a week and overtime. That was a lot of money then too. But things kind of progressed, and I got, like I said, I started out in the yard, and I would see these guys coming in every once in a while that were outside sales guys. I was like, well, what do they do? And I just figured they did PR and they made a whole lot of money. And I'm like, I can talk to people. I like to make a whole lot of money. So that's where I want to go. Took me a few years and started out on inside sales and went into outside sales, and figured out, hey, that's not what they do. And it's not that easy.
But everybody else is always tonning it.
Yeah.
Here he is in the yard going, man, I'm making $7.25. Boy, that guy's driving a nicer car than me.
Yeah.
He's tonning
Look
it.
at those shoes.
Man, and he's doing it real easy. He ain't out here in the cool weather like me,
Absolutely.
pulling the forklift, trying to pull material off the top shelf and watching it fall all around you. I don't know if that happened to you, but
it did.
hypothetically, it might have happened to one of us here at the table.
Oh, great story, by the way. So, I always believed in killing two birds with one stone and work smarter, not harder. So, lumber comes wrapped in plastic. And one of my great ideas was, when you unwrap it, the plastic just stays there. Well, I would just bundle it up with the lumber and send it out to the job sites. And we used to catch so much shit for that. I got threatened with almost being fired one time. It was actually pretty comical.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm firing your $7.25 butt that's actually showing up every day, doing the job. But you got to go.
Yeah. I was sending garbage with the package. I mean, I get it now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Now I'm in sales, I'll lose my shit too.
All right. So you obviously you came on the podcast, and you do have an outgoing personality, which is anti-accountant as well.
Yeah.
So as you made that progression through inside sales, was it somebody who helped you? Was there a mentor? Was there somebody that helped you guide you through this?
My brother-in-law at the time, he's the one that got me the job part-time coming on with Plymart. He actually worked for Plymart as well. He was a dispatcher. He had been with the company for several years. It was family owned. And he had nothing but good things to say about it. And I thought that, that would be a place where I'd like to start and, kind of venture to see my career path in that. But yeah, he actually started me out. He kind of taught me the ropes. He would get me back in line if I swayed, if you will, and things were a lot different then. You could pop some people around if you needed to, but yeah.
Alan, how did you interpret that?
Did you say former brother-in-law?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after all that, that's everything you took? Is that the former brother-in-law popped him around a little bit?
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's
That's not what happened. He's going to have his family. He's going to have his family listen to this. It's like, no, Dad, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Alan took that way out of context. Chris had to reel him back in.
There goes Thanksgiving. Thanks.
Oh,
Cheers.
hey, well, the good news is it's going to be tense as ours. So love that. Finally, if I have to have Thanksgiving ruined every year, you get to too, buddy. What? So you start inside sales.
Yes.
Why don't you define what that job is for those of us who don't do that?
Sure. So at the time, the location I worked at was in Cartersville. Cartersville was at the time basically a dirt lot with a camper on it. That was our office. This was, 97, 98, 99. Of course, it was still a new marketplace for Plymart because Plymart was relatively large. Long story short, they wanted to put a satellite, office there. They ended up building a larger office, which had, the showroom, 11 outside sales reps, 13 acres, all that type of stuff. That's where I started my inside sales career. On the inside sales career, I was the only inside sales rep. Chris, you've been to our counter before. You know how busy and crazy it gets. We've got 7 guys on it. They rock and roll. Well, picture that, a little bit smaller scale, but it was only me.
One. So you were that guy.
I was that guy.
Huh? What do you need? Nope.
Yeah. No. I was like, yes, sir. How can I get it for you?
All right.
And then, of course, I'd take down all the information and they would leave. And I'd be like, hey, so-and-so, what is this? How do I do this? What does this mean? Whoops, I screwed up again, But no, I really cut my teeth on inside sales. But basically it was, the customer service aspect. It was taking care of the customer. It was answering the phone calls. Not just, randos calling in to say what's the price on a 2x4, but actually taking care of service issues.
He was looking at you.
He did actually.
I did.
He went randos and I was like right in. I mean, I'm like, dude,
That could be your new nickname, Rando.
It is. I am America's man.
There you
Rando.
go. But the other thing,
Rambo.
There you go. I like it. But the other thing that gave me the chance to do though was expand my horizon as well, because it wasn't really set. I knew what the job was, and everybody knew kind of what the title was, but I was the only one doing it. So I could actually practice cold calling. I could go to job sites when I had the counter covered, things of that nature. So it kind of exposed me a little bit more into the outside role as well. And then after about 9 months into it, they kicked me out and put me back in the yard.
Oh, okay. So you're obviously doing a great job.
Yeah, I was doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, keep thinking that.
Yeah, well,
all right.
I was 21 years old. We all know what happens when we're 21 years old, right?
Well, tell us.
Not for some of us who are a little older. When we were 18, that happened.
Oh my God. Yeah. Cars, girls, drinking, good time, late nights, all that type of good stuff. But of course they gave me the opportunity. They still had me in their back pocket, if you will. And they kicked me back out in the yard. And of course I was pretty sore about it, but I stuck with it and waited for another year. And I said, hey, I want to try this again. And at that time we had a new store manager. And he's like, I kind of heard the story. I kind of know the who, what, when, where, how. We're going to try it again. So I did it again. And, by the time I was 23, here I am outside sales and rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling. So, obviously in the lessons that we talk about here a lot about either running your own business or starting your own business, you had that wake up call. Yeah. I think we've all had to have that kick in the pants, as it were, that one shot where somebody kind of...
One shot?
Okay, I like 155 shots.
It was several.
I'm tired of kicking the pants.
How many days are there in the year again?
Yeah, 365.
Yeah, 365, getting hit every day, right there, right in the huevos. That's right, my friends. So you got that, but you had somebody who took a chance and back on you to do that.
Yep.
And you showed them the loyalty and you showed them that because you have only been literally with one company your whole time.
Yeah, when you think about it, yeah.
Because, it started out as a company called Plymart, then it became Dead, and then it became PMC Building Materials.
Yep.
And then it became Randall Brothers, which for those of us in Atlanta, Randall Brothers is an iconic name. But let's go back to as you moved up in your career and did this thing, you saw a lot. 2000, boom. 2005 and 6 here in Atlanta, you couldn't not build a house. I mean, I could have been a builder.
They put them everywhere.
Oh yeah,
like in a street corner.
Absolutely.
In the middle of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was terrible.
I mean, it was rocking and rolling.
Power lines, fine.
Yeah, it was rocking and rolling. You could make money. Money was cheap. People were buying. People were moving here. I was a little young at the time to realize exactly what was going on because I was still learning the industry, if you will. but I was making a really good living in my mid to late 20s. And of course, 2008 happened, and we all know what happened there.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's still a sore subject for PTSD, boy. But I am interested because I understood that Plymart stopped working for a while.
Basically.
Did you go without a paycheck during 2008?
So yes and no. So 2007 we had our largest year. It was like 495 million. Just kind of put some emphasis to it. 2008 they closed the doors. What a big issue was.
Yeah, that's staggering.
Oh, it's absolutely staggering.
495 to shut
Half
the doors.
$500 million to shut the doors.
Yeah. And basically it was long money. We had a lot of late money out there. We were dealing with, national guys.
Chris.
Yeah. No. We were dealing with national guys, national builders. They all had terms. When you looked at the 120-day money and the 90-day money and the 60-day money, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was half that.
So that's that love of accounting that came in because you actually were able to see that even then in your position in outside sales.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, was that a mistake or was it just a function of the disaster that happened?
It was a lesson learned. A lot of companies did it because, I'm sure you guys heard the term too big to fail. It was still kind of that mentality too in building industry.
So they don't do that today? They don't do terms?
There's some companies that do. We don't. We learned our lesson. So yeah.
All right.
Hard lesson learned.
You said yes and no. Didn't get a paycheck, but your company went bankrupt.
Yes.
So give me the yes on the no. Because, last thing I checked, and you're an accounting guy. I'm just a guy who was in banking for a while.
Sure.
If a company goes bankrupt, you don't get money.
Sure. Well, no, you're on cue there. So basically what had happened, at the store I was at the time, we went up to Rock Springs. I was one of the outside sales reps to kind of open up that store, which was in Northwest Georgia. Kind of give you an idea. Ringgold area. So I went up there to open the store about 2.5 years before that, which we did a great job. And as a new store, which we actually bought out a local supplier up there, we were doing great compared to the other 33 locations. We weren't number one, but we were in the top 10% as far as revenue coming in, profit dollars, et cetera. So my store was actually one of the last ones to close. There were people that were losing their jobs before then that weren't getting money before then. But we were one of the last ones to kind of hold on. So that's why I said the yes and no.
All right. So down it goes. This company goes bankrupt. So now what? So you hooked on with another company? What'd you do? You put your shingle out there? Who'd you go?
I did. So I still had a customer base, up in Northwest Georgia, and I was very loyal to them. I was 30 years old, never did the accounting thing. So I never went to school, just kind of grew my career. But my customer base in Northwest Georgia and in Chattanooga still meant a lot to me. Through some channeling and some networking, I actually went on with a company that was located out of Chattanooga for about 6 months. And the reason I did that was basically to make the transition for my customers, to get them used to that company and eventually turn them over to that company. Just because of the logistics for myself, traveling back and forth. I was still living in Cartersville. It was a 2-hour drive just to get up to that area. Things were a lot more expensive then, especially when you're only making $30,000 a year now. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of the game plan. And I didn't really have a plan other than that. And then I got a phone call. One of the regional guys that were with Plymart that was a part of starting PMC called me up and said, "Steve, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, you already know what I'm doing because you're the one that helped me kind of network to get this." He's like, "We're gonna open up PMC. You want to come down?"
Who was this guy?
This was Bill Stoker.
Bill.
Yep. And I said, "Bill, I don't have a customer base. What do you need me to do?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. We'll find you a job." And I knew right there and then I had a home.
Hiring the right people shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Smart Hire Solutions LLC, they take a smarter, more human approach to hiring. Smart Hire Solutions helps you get the right candidates, carefully vets, presents only the best fits for sales roles, lead technicians, key team members, in home services, construction, and many more. No resume pile nightmares, no wasted time. Today's labor market is tough to navigate, and having the Smart Hire Solutions LLC team on board makes it smooth sailing. Founder Tina McKenna brings decades of real world experience, not only in recruiting, but in marketing. She runs this thing like a business that's involved with you. Check out their fresh approach at yoursmarthire.com. That's yoursmarthire.com. Or connect with Tina McKenna on LinkedIn. That's Tina McKenna with Smart Hire Solutions, LLC, yoursmarthire.com. So these guys reconstituted, and you were basically back to being part of a startup.
Yeah.
And so it was Bill, Larry, and then
Yeah, so you had Bill, Randy, and Rich Mahaffey, Greg
Randy and Rich.
Mazurek. Yep, Greg Mazurek.
Greg.
Larry came on a little bit later, but
Right.
he was also a help.
Right, he came on later. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
And we basically had the counter guys that came back on because it was in the Marietta location.
And what
There's
year,
a
what
couple
year
of
was
those
this?
guys I didn't want to come back on. Can I say that on here?
You just did. What year was this now?
Let's see, this would have been I started back November 2008. So yeah, late 2008, early 2009.
Yeah, I'd say I
think
started
February
working.
is
So
when the doors.
it still sucked then.
Oh yeah, no, it sucked. Yeah, no, absolutely.
It
Yeah.
sucked.
Yeah, no, it
I
sucked.
mean, I don't remember much, but I remember it sucked.
Yeah. No, the our first full year, which was 2009, I think, as the one location, we did maybe 750,000, 800,000.
So from 495 million to 750,000 in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That's the title of this podcast. When things go wrong, you don't see it. Let's go back to looking at what we saw then and how many signals we all missed. Did you see anything then that if you see that today, you would say it's time to think differently?
Absolutely. You know, it was real easy to Monday night quarterback after it happened, and especially see some of the signs, if you will. The market was saturated. You know, anybody with a cell phone and a magnet could be a contractor, and they could sell houses. Building loans were very easy to get. You know, the people were able to get into houses that weren't supposed to get into houses to begin with. We all kind of know what happened there. We have our own feelings. With that, I think a lot of regulations came. You know, as far as, you know, your GC license, banking, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Being able to
It
get the
tightened up
loans.
a lot.
It did tighten up. To good and bad, my opinion, but we can get into that later if we want.
I shook my head. That's not good radio, people.
did.
Not good podcast.
did.
No, we'll get into that. All right. So signals that you saw.
Yeah.
Saturated market. It was the Wild Wild West here in Georgia, but it was obviously Wild Wild West across the entire country.
Yep.
In terms of people getting into houses that really shouldn't be in houses. You said something.
What was the loans were on stated income? I make this much. You didn't have to prove it, right?
Yeah.
And wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, Steve, how much you say? 30. I think you heard you say 60. Yeah, 60. All right, yeah, we can get you in that $300,000 house.
Exactly.
Come on, Steve.
Yep.
We'll get you in there. Next thing you know, Steve's like, my mortgage payment is now 2/3 of my monthly income. Yeah, you'll be
That's okay.
fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
You got lawn chairs. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think people had that renter's mentality, and that was the buildup. You know, I was in banking when it happened, and I got to see it and get the chance to reflect on it. And I always think about that now because now we've also been through COVID, which is nobody could ever signal that. But when things get super saturated, things get overheated, what are the signs we should be looking for to make sure that we're not the ones who get caught holding the bag at the end? And it's a hard thing to call because the next one is going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It won't be the same. It'll
Nope.
be different.
Nope.
And you just don't know where the difference coming from.
You know, there'll be some signs, you know, whether people are becoming late with their bills or whether the market's saturated or whatnot. And of course, we keep up with permits. You can keep up with permits pulled and what that looks
When you
like.
say the market's saturated, what does that mean to you?
You know, you could have 3 neighborhoods within a 5-block, you know, radius. And
So being overbuilt.
yeah, absolutely overbuilt.
Yeah.
Overbuilt, overdeveloped, and really just going up like hotcakes, you know, like they're nothing. When you start seeing that going on, it's time to pay attention just a little bit. That means that everybody's buying. The market's cheap, my opinion. But there's going to be a overwhelming amount of housing that's out there. I think since 2008, our region kind of did a pretty good job of tightening that belt a little bit. So it didn't really let it saturate that much. But yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, Alan.
Well, it,
Because I have an opinion.
really?
Absolutely, Alan. All right, Alan, go ahead. Shoot.
No, I was just going to say, because right now we're still, I mean, things, it's such a weird economy right now, but it's still, there's a lot of development going on. But I don't believe we've caught up from when COVID happened. A lot of builders just stopped building. And, Atlanta particularly is growing no matter what is going on. And so we still technically have a housing shortage from what I understand.
Yeah.
So we're not in a position to worry about it right now, right?
You get reports from everywhere. Everybody kind of has their own opinion. During COVID, there was a housing shortage. The movie industry was coming to Georgia. That was pretty big. Money was still cheap. And we're talking about new construction now. Okay. And the other flip side of that is the multifamily stuff was also harder to have because more and more people were moving here. So there was a shortage, if you will. Today, the permits that are being pulled are less than what were being pulled, last year, the year before, because the market's kind of a little stagnant right now. You had people that bought during COVID 20 to 2022. They have low interest rates. They probably bought a little bit too high for what the house actually was. But they don't want to move to buy a more expensive house with a higher interest rate. Doesn't make any sense. People call that a stagnant market. I call it a opportunity market. I think, especially with what you do, Chris, on the handyman side, people aren't going to move, but people are still going to want to remodel and update, and they can afford those things. That's my opinion. But that in 325 will get you a Sunday newspaper.
Yeah, that's not your 725 that used to make an hour, big guy. He's making the big bucks now. That's right. We got Steve Lange from Randall Brothers. Building supplies, obviously, helps a lot of us builders and people in the business, but has a great eye for what's going on to help us with trends and help us with things that are happening. And I think you can take that across any industry, which I felt like, here's my opinion now, Alan, what happened here.
I couldn't wait.
Yeah, I knew you can't. What happened here in Atlanta specifically is that what was happening is we were building all on spec. That means I don't have a buyer for that home yet. So I would go out and build 20 homes and find 20 buyers after I built them, which sounds like a dream as a builder because I don't have a customer to have to work with. As a handyman who has a remodeler who has to go and work in the house all the time, I get the right customer looking at me day in and day out. We were 70% spec here in Atlanta and 30% custom, which means somebody gave me a check to start building my home. That was exactly the inverse for the rest of the nation.
Really?
The rest of the nation is 30% spec and 70% custom, meaning Alan Wyatt wants to build a custom home. He gives Steve Lange a check and gives Chris the check. Thank you very much. I go to Steve, give him the check to start giving me supplies, tell him he's overpriced, he needs to bring it down. And then you pay me another draw and another draw, as opposed to going out there and saying, I have no Alan Wyatts to pay my bills. And that's what happened to us. Developers and builders alike all ran up quickly on this whole spec market, just absolutely collapsing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Very good perspective.
Thank you. See, my opinion's worth something.
Not bad for a rando.
Thank you, Rando. All right, Captain Rando, let's keep talking. So, Steve, we're in this market, and we do. He and I talk, regularly about, what he's seeing in the market, what he's seeing, what's going on. And that's the kind of stuff you need in your business. And that's the kind of thing that I don't think people get that they should do more often. And that is, talk to your suppliers, talk to people who are talking to a lot more people than you are, just to get a feel for what's happening. Because he'll talk new construction, but he'll also come back and say, well, in your business, I'm not seeing that as much, but I'm seeing this. And then the other things that he's really helped me with is COVID. Let's go back to this. What happened in COVID? Well, we shut down. What really happened in COVID was material prices went boing, bang, bing, bong, bang, 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 all over the board.
Absolutely.
No idea. I used to get an annual price increase from Steve, and it turned out he called me and he said, I apologize for this, but you're going to get it monthly. I said, do what? He goes, monthly, because I don't know where it's going.
Yep.
And that's what we had to deal with. And we're still dealing with the fallouts of this and the ups and downs and people who are still sitting in their house going, well, I did all that work. Well, I hate to break this to you, man, but that was 5 years ago. And guess what's happened in 5 years? Your house is still getting beaten and things are still need to be done.
Yep.
So getting those relationships with people who are outside of even in your industry, staying in your industry vertical, but not in what you're doing,
Right.
has been really helpful for me. So
Yeah.
that's been great. So as you keep going on your career,
Sure.
so you go into this PMC group, they kill it. They get bought by Randall Brothers. Did you get a piece of that?
No.
Okay. Let's not bring that up, Alan. Why did you bring that up, Alan?
I'm so stupid.
God,
I'm
bless America. You know what, Larry? Screw you. He won't listen to this anyway. He's retired. He's gone. Greg?
I texted him on the way over here.
Did you really?
I did.
Nice.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you should have. Greg, screw you. He won't listen to this either because he's a serious introvert. I had him on the radio show too. Give Steve, give my boy some love. Those guys have heard that all the time before. But as you progressed, you went from inside sales, outside sales.
Yeah.
What is your position today with Randall Brothers?
Still outside sales. I've been able to grow a awesome team. I've actually got a team of 3. I don't really hear about that in the industry. As far as an outside sales guys, they usually have one admin person, unless they were doing, the national business. And I still remember back in the day in Plymart, the national business guys, they were selling $1.2 million, $1.3 million a month. They needed a team, and that was just track business. Of course, that business is a lot different than what it is today. Today, it takes a little bit more manpower. I've been able to build up my sales to where they needed to be in order to have a team like that. But Craig, Vernon, and Christian, they do a great job for me.
Are you the only one at Randall Brothers that has a team like that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I knew that. So
he's obviously a modest guy, but what's your secret sauce to sales?
Oh, trial and error, honestly. You have to get out there, not be afraid to make a mistake, and have the confidence that you can fix it. And I think that the ways that you do that is through communication, whether it's good or bad. You give both sides of news. Listening is definitely a big deal. So you can understand exactly what the customer wants, meeting expectations, setting expectations.
overrated, Alan. You just do what I like.
Listening is for schmucks.
What?
What?
What did he say?
So, Chris, what do you think his secret sauce is?
I would tell you, actually, I will. He is. You're right. Number one, he is a modest guy. I will tell you, his secret sauce is exactly what he was talking about. He is customer service focused. He has come out to a number of my jobs that he had no business coming to look at, just to double check that we were doing things the right way. He actually took a job that I quoted where I was going to do a full window unit replacement, and he came back and said, if it were me, brother, I would not do that because I don't think you're going to get what you want. You're going to want to do this. He actually changed the approach, which I went back to the customer and said, so I've talked with my team. I didn't want to say, so the supplier told me I was an idiot.
The stupid lumber guy told me.
The guy who just gives me freaking lumber, and most of it's all bent up anyway. It's 2x4 shit.
He saves the good stuff for you.
That's right. So that's the kind of stuff. That's where when you look at, I know he has a team, and I know it's not typical in our world, is that he still supplies that great. You feel like you're the only customer he has. And I know that I'm not his biggest customer. I know it for a fact. I mean, I'm definitely his most important customer. And
I would say favorite
I am his, thank you. but I know I'm not the biggest.
on Thursdays.
Yeah. I'm tuning out now.
Oh, but that customer service, that's, he's running a business within a business. He's actually thinking about this as an entrepreneur. He's not checking the box. He's not just clocking in at 8.
Not trying to sell you something that you don't need.
Nope.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that solution selling is a big part of that. And what I mean by solution selling, of course, having the communication, but understanding what the project, the budget, and the expectations are. You know, the homeowner or the client may want the highest dollar windows that there are, but the fact of the matter is they have a $150,000 house and it just doesn't make sense. Whether it's asked or not, I kind of give that opinion a little bit in a political manner, if you will. But the other part is, also meeting the expectations. Well, why do they want an aluminum clad window? It's not because it costs the most. It's because they have these choices. Well, we can get these similar choices with this other line or whatever whatever it may call for, and giving the options and solution selling to what it is. Because if you go in there with $1,000 window and you got 10 of them and their budget is 7,000, you just chase that customer off and you didn't ask the questions. You don't really care about their project. You're just there to sell materials. I'm not an order taker. I'm a sales rep. That's why I consider myself. Good, bad, or in between. That's kind of how I do my business.
Alan, before we get the podcast too far away from us, one of the things also that Steve has shown is that he's got a big heart. And he's done it in numerous ways and numerous times over the years. And we had a nasty hurricane that hit the North Carolina area and ripped through Asheville, which was near and dear to my heart because that's where my daughter was. Thank God she was here when it happened. And he called me and said, hey, I want to do something for these people in the mountains because nobody else is doing, media otherwise. I'm not, again, now we're not getting political. He goes, I just want to do something. Will you do something? I'm like, yeah. So I said, what do you want? He goes, well, we don't need one shoe. We don't need two socks that don't match. We need stuff these people actually use. I said, all right. He goes, I think this is going to be covered, but can you do this? And he said, I need blankets. I need rugs. I need materials. And we put together a drive at the Trusted Toolbox, got it all wrapped up, and he came over and picked it up and drove it up to North Carolina himself to drop it off to people that, let's face it, they don't trust others that don't know them. Yep. And you did that. And I thought that was really special. Why did you do what you did?
My eyes kind of opened up. What the whole story was, we were actually up there as Damascus, Virginia. Me and the girlfriend and some other friends were actually up there doing a camping and hiking trip. We knew that Helene was coming, but it wasn't supposed to hit that area. Long story short, we ended up getting stuck for like 2.5 days. We had to be rescued by fire safety trucks to cut us out. There was probably 80 or 70 down trees. But on the way out, when we finally got out, we went through Damascus as much as we could, but it was under 3 feet of water. And this is a mountain town. There was no help up there. There was no media coverage, if you will. And I just, I love hiking. I love the outdoors. And to me, that was just, nobody's covering this. And that was kind of true to my heart. And the rescuers took time from their own local people to come and save people that weren't from there, if you will. And I felt like I had to, pay it forward and do something to help out. I did talk to Chris about it. Chris was right on board. I mean, that was great partnership.
Yeah, 100%. So what has Steve done again? Well, unfortunately, one of my lead technicians came home to his house 2 Fridays ago to see it in flames with the firefighters dousing it.
Really?
And he's lost his house. His 4 children and his wife are now displaced. And my general manager reached out to Steve, unbeknownst to me, and bang, what did they do? They said, yeah, man, whatever you need. And they didn't just say whatever you need. They actually offered up and are really helping him out a ton. And we're doing it here at the Trusted Toolbox. And again, going back to great partnerships, that was, it meant a ton to me, what you did. I didn't know that until literally 2 days ago. And I was like, do what? He goes, yeah, Randall Brothers, Steve said he'd do this. I'm like, yeah, dude,
I mean, it's just
awesome.
It's one of those things. You're not really looking for recognition from it. You're taking care of your people.
Yeah,
you're part of my people, Chris.
You're part of my people. That's right, Alan. You're part of my people too, Alan. This is what we're all about here on the podcast. So, guys, keep listening. Keep telling everybody about what's going on here because good things are happening when we all stay together. Stay in your flock. Keep going up that mountain. Keep making things happen. So, Steve, what are some of your biggest goals you've got left? Because you're very young compared to Alan.
Well, I do have a fake ID that says I'm 24.
Nice.
I've had it since I was 18.
Beautiful.
Still works.
We should all strive for that.
Yeah, still works.
Oh my God. If I ever get ID'd again, where it's not literally, they just give me the wand over.
Doesn't it piss you off when you get ID'd now?
Right. You're like, okay. Yeah.
Really?
What do I look like the undercover cop? I mean, look at me, dude. Seriously. Clearly I know how to drink.
Georgia 5-0.
Yeah, right. That would be hilarious to pull out and go, there it is. And have them go, wait, 24? That's right. That would be funny. Now we should doctor it up.
You know what? You're right. I'm in on that.
That's an idea.
I do have a fake ID story.
All right.
So when I moved up here, I didn't know that you could go to the post office, or not a post office, but a post office spot to get an ID. It wasn't official, but it was an ID. But basically, they took down whatever information you gave them, and they printed you out a little ID, then they laminated and everything else, and people actually accepted that. Believe it or not.
Back to the Wild West.
Back to Wild
Had I
West.
only started building before 2004 when I had no idea what I was doing. Although I had taken building classes. No, I still didn't. But I had my general contractor's license. But for me to get it, I had to go sit there, take the test, do all this stuff.
Crap you could have built.
I know, right? I could have really,
Built some crap.
thank you. I was going to say, I could have really stuck with you some people. There's no integrity on that. For the love, Alan.
Oh my
my
God.
God. Steve Lange. So, Steve, we got a lot of people listen. I think your story has resonated with a lot of people. Would you be open to talking to people?
Sure.
How can they get a hold of you?
Probably best way would be email. steve.lang@randallbrothers.com. RANDALLBROTHERS.
Which they went to the same idea that I had, and that's why all of my emails are Chris at thetrustedtoolbox.com, because you had to have that at the time. We didn't talk much about Randall Brothers, but then again, I don't know if Luther's going to listen to this.
He may.
Luther, if you're listening, love you. I still love RV3. I still love the fact that you guys have great money. And if you'd like to come on the podcast, Luther, I would love to have you come on the podcast too. So I'm not going to say anything bad about you guys. Of course I'm not. I love you guys. I remember going down. Randall Brothers was in the trim manufacturing business for years. And if you ever went down to the Randall Brothers, which is right next to Georgia Tech where your son's going to school.
Really?
Yep. It used to be right there.
Yep.
And you could see this trim getting made. And I'm telling you what, man, as a guy who loves manufacturing, it was seriously cool because these machines, those machines for wood were what I worked on in steel when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was working on big automatic lathes.
It's not there anymore.
So here's what they did. They have sold their Randall Brothers manufacturing business. They saw what these guys had built at this PMC company and said, we want to buy you. We want to get in the distribution business to help other small builders and small remodelers do what you guys are doing. We like what you guys are doing so much. They sold their business, sold their property down by Georgia Tech to Georgia Tech, gave back to the community. And they said, you know what? We like you guys so much that we want you guys to make sure you keep Steve Lang. No, that didn't happen.
No, that did not happen.
That did not happen. Were you even part of the deal? No,
I
probably not.
Mm-mm. No, not at all.
But I have met Luther. It is very interesting to talk with that cat because the Randall Brothers family, their first money came pre-Civil War.
Yeah.
And then the Randall
So when
Brothers,
you're talking old money.
they had one business that was before them starting to make trim, pre-Civil War. And these other brothers started this trim business called Randall Brothers.
Yep.
And they became the trim that we use throughout almost all the Southeast. And I want to say it gets up in the Midwest.
I'm sure it does. That basically trims that started with RB, those letters, that's where it came from, was Randall Brothers, believe it or not.
Super cool history.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
And a great company that they did. I'm glad they invested in them. I've known these guys now. They've become our partner of choice. We love what they do. They've helped us out so much. And I'm glad that Steve said, hey, I'd like to come on your podcast.
I invited myself.
Did you talk to Steve about the doors you put in my house?
Well, why don't you tell Steve about the doors we put in your house?
No, my wife wanted to go from the single door to the double door with the windows and everything, and she loves them. I mean, loves them completely. We have neighbors who are happy about it. But did you talk to Steve about it, or did you just, hey, I got this mark. Yeah, I think it makes some money.
I told him, I'm like, hey, whatever you think that door costs, double it, and then I'm going to jack it up too. As a matter of fact, Steve did not come to your house to measure those doors.
He did not.
I did. I snuck over there, by the way.
Did you?
I did to make sure we got the right size. But he confirmed that I had the right size.
It's like, that one makes sense.
He goes, yeah, you could order that one, dumbass.
Sign this.
But yeah, no, he's turned us on to great products. But that's, again, we talk about this on the radio show a lot, is that the reason you go with professionals is because we do this for a living. You know, why do you go get your oil changed now? I mean, who's changing their oil anymore? We're done, right? We're out of that business. Back when we were kids, we did it all the time. Hell, talk about this up in Michigan. We used to change our own muffler. The whole system in Michigan.
Did you change it, or did you just straight pipe it?
No, we changed it out because you know what? Looking back on it, back in the day,
That's a Florida. That was a
That was the Florida thing.
yeah, we didn't lower that shit to the ground. But you look at it now, you go with professionals because you know what you're doing. And when you talk about DIY, yeah, you can. You know what? But I'm going to say it again. I say this on our radio show every week. Your number one financial asset for many of us is your home. The number one emotional asset is your home because that's where you're raising your family, putting your head down. Yet we are so cheap when it comes to fixing our homes. And we'll go out there and we will drop that car down when I'm only making $7.25 an hour to have that super hot rod. And I'll straight pipe that sucker so it sounds even better. But I'm going to live in a freaking rat shack that's infested and afraid the door's going to fall in. Don't do that. Don't be dumb. Take care of your number one asset. You know what? To do that, you got to take care of yourself too. Let's keep making sure we're taking care of ourselves each and every week. Help yourself, set some goals, make it happen each and every week, every day. Get 1% better. Hate that phrase, but love that idea. You can do it. Let's get going. Steve Lange, Randall Brothers, Alan, we got to get the hell out of here. I got to go build some shit.
Thanks y'all again.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day.